Mountains don't kill the way movies show you. There's no dramatic avalanche in the background, no perfectly timed lightning strike, no orchestral soundtrack building tension. Most of the time, mountains kill quietly, silently, with no warning at all, and the people who die on them, the ones whose names appear for a few days in local news before disappearing forever. They usually don't realize they're in danger until they've already crossed the point of no return. Today's video is about 3 of those people. 3 climbers, each on a different mountain, each facing a different situation, and all 3 experiencing something frighteningly similar, a moment where something felt off. A detail so small, so easy to ignore, yet powerful enough to cost them their lives. These stories aren't the most violent mountain deaths. They're not even the most famous, but they're the ones most climbers never forget, because they're terrifyingly easy to imagine happening to anyone who steps onto a mountain trail. 3 mountains, 3 tragedies, 3 warnings. This is the story you didn't know you needed. Story 1. The Man Who Followed a Shadow. In 2016, a 34-year-old American named Daniel Reeves flew to Pakistan to attempt K2. For climbers, K2 is the ultimate test. Steeper than Everest, colder, more unpredictable, and statistically much deadlier. Daniel wasn't reckless. He'd been climbing for more than a decade. Ice training, altitude training, survival courses. He checked every box. Team members later described him as strong, calm, unshakable, the kind of climber you want beside you at 8,000 meters. And for the first few days, everything went smoothly. Until day 4. The team was moving between Camp 2 and Camp 3 when Daniel slowed down. He kept glancing over his shoulder. He looked uneasy, distracted. When they stopped for water, one climber asked, "You good, man?" Daniel hesitated. Then he said something strange. "It feels like someone's walking behind me." His teammates assumed it was altitude playing tricks on him. Maybe he was tired, maybe dehydrated. They joked about mountain ghosts and kept walking. But Daniel didn't laugh. He said the presence behind him moved when he moved and stopped when he stopped, always just a few steps back. As the hours passed, he said it felt even closer. No one took him seriously. They should have. That night at Camp 3, temperatures dropped fast. The team crawled into their tents, exhausted, and fell asleep. Sometime after midnight, one climber woke up. He heard soft crunching in the snow outside. Footsteps. Slow, steady, deliberate. He unzipped the tent door an inch and looked out. A figure stood completely still in the snow, facing the mountain. It was Daniel. No coat, no headlamp, just standing there. The climber whispered, "Daniel, are you okay?" Before he could open the tent further, a voice behind him answered, "Yeah, what's wrong?" He spun around. Daniel was in his sleeping bag, half awake, staring at him. The climber looked outside again, and the figure was gone. He didn't sleep again that night. Neither did Daniel. The next morning, Daniel was silent. He barely ate. He didn't joke around like usual. Something had changed. As they climbed higher, the weather turned brutal. Wind slapped their faces. Visibility dropped. The trail narrowed to a razor-thin traverse with a 1,000-foot drop. One by one, the climbers clipped into the safety line and shuffled across. Daniel was last. Halfway across, he stopped. His teammates yelled, asking what was wrong. Daniel craned his neck and looked behind him. His eyes widened like he recognized someone. Then he whispered, "Fine, I'm coming." Before anyone could react, Daniel stepped sideways off the path and disappeared. A scream echoed once, then was swallowed by the wind. The safety rope jerked violently, snapped under the shock load, and Daniel fell into the cloud bank below. No one ever saw him alive again. When search teams eventually found Daniel's phone in the snow, they discovered an unsent note typed the night before he died. It said, "The shadow isn't behind me anymore. It walks beside me, and it keeps pointing off the trail." Altitude psychosis, maybe, But the climber who saw Daniel's double standing outside the tent that night, he quit mountaineering forever. Story 2. The last photo on Mount Baldwin. In early winter 2019, 3 college friends, Mark, Ellen, and Jake, drove to Colorado to climb Mount Baldwin. They weren't professionals, they weren't thrill seekers. They just wanted one special photo together before graduation. The weather was perfect. Blue skies, crisp air, clear visibility. Everything looked safe, which is exactly why the mountain was dangerous. By 3 p.m., they were close to the summit ridge. Snow was smooth and untouched. Mark was the bold one, funny, loud, adventurous. He ran ahead toward a wide patch of white snow and yelled, "This is perfect! Take my picture here!" Jake raised his camera. Ellen frowned. "Mark, the snow looks thin. Don't go too far." Mark waved her off. "Relax, it's solid." It wasn't. Jake pressed the shutter. Click. At that precise moment, the snow under Mark fractured. Not loudly, not dramatically, just one clean, silent crack. Mark didn't even have time to scream. The snow collapsed beneath him, and he slid down the steep slope as if something beneath the surface had pulled him. Jake and Ellen ran to the edge, screaming his name, but he was already gone, just a disappearing figure swallowed by white. Search teams worked for hours. They eventually found Mark wedged between 2 rocks far below, but something was strange. He wasn't broken or mangled, no shattered bones, no signs of a violent fall. His face looked calm, peaceful, almost like he'd simply gone to sleep. The rescuers couldn't explain it, neither could the coroner. Back home, Jake opened the final photo. He expected it to traumatize him. Instead, it confused him. Mark was smiling, bright, joyful, carefree, but behind him, stretching across the snow, was a long, jagged crack. A crack that formed a shape disturbingly similar to a hand reaching toward Mark's ankle. Jake swore that shape wasn't there before. Ellen agreed. The ranger didn't laugh. A week later, a park ranger explained something chilling. Early winter snow on Baldwin doesn't break because of weight. It breaks when the wind shifts beneath it, like something under the snow is breathing. Jake and Ellen never climbed again. The photo remains online today, with thousands of comments debating whether the crack behind Mark was real, or something the mountain created in the split second before it claimed him. Story 3. The girl who walked into the clouds. 28-year-old Linh Tran, a Vietnamese-American climber, had a reputation in the climbing community as disciplined to the extreme. She double-checked everything, studied routes, respected weather. In 2021, she joined a team of 4, attempting Mount Cascade, a peak notorious for sudden weather shifts. Not deadly, not technical, just unpredictable, which is often worse. At around 6,000 meters, winds started howling. The team decided to stop and rest, maybe turn back. But Linh had been frustrated with slow progress all morning. She said, "I'll go ahead, just 20 minutes. I'll mark the trail." Her teammates hesitated, but she was stubborn. They let her go. It was the last time anyone saw her alive. 25 minutes later, when the group continued climbing, they found something unsettling. Linh's backpack standing upright in the snow, perfectly balanced, like someone had placed it there deliberately. But there were no footprints around it except the ones leading toward the cliff edge, and then stopping abruptly, as if she walked forward into nothing. Rescue teams found Linh's body 2 days later at the base of the cliff. But her helmet camera provided the real story. The last 3 minutes are haunting. Linh is walking confidently. Then out of nowhere, a massive wall of clouds rolls in, a whiteout. Instantly, her world disappears. The trail, the rocks, the sky, everything becomes blank white, as if she stepped into a void. She slows down, whispering, "Where is the trail?" Her breathing grows panicked. She turns left, then right, but the cloud is total. No shadows, no contrast, no horizon, just emptiness. Then she turns again, unknowingly walking directly toward the cliff edge. Her last recorded sound is the wind. No scream, no panic, just wind. Experts later said, whiteout disorientation is one of the most dangerous conditions on Earth. The brain loses the ability to judge direction. You can walk off a cliff without realizing you're moving. Lynn did everything right. She wasn't reckless. She didn't panic. She simply stepped into a cloud that erased the world around her. 3 climbers, 3 mountains, 3 deaths that didn't need storms, avalanches, or dramatic accidents. They were killed by small things, subtle things, things most climbers overlook. A shadow behind you, a crack in the snow, a cloud that hides the ground. Mountains don't choose their victims. They just wait for someone to make one tiny mistake. And the scariest part, every mistake in these stories was something the climber didn't recognize until the final second of their life. If you want more unsettling true stories like this, let me know, because this was only the beginning.